One more show to go before the Kentucky Derby next week here on Prime Sports Network. So we've got, believe it or not, and this is by request, we've got Golden Gate this week. We're also going to talk about Churchill Downs a week before the Kentucky Derby with a race. Quite interested in, I guess, why we chose this race. So why did we choose this race? Did you like this race, John? Or is
Which
this
one?
Chad? The Churchill Downs race.
It's a grass race. They have a lot of baby races. It's one of the few races where you have horses that have run that aren't babies, that have long histories.
And we're not doing Santa Anita, the two graded stakes races, because the fields are small.
Yeah.
So there you go. Good old Santa Anita, back to the old small fields.
And by the way, we're doing Golden Gate because we don't do Tapeta, but we're doing a grass race from Golden Gate. So it's like not doing a Tapeta race.
And we did get a request.
Yeah, and of course we got a request. And Chad seconded the request. So
yeah, so
that's our man Caesar. All hail Caesar.
Let's see. That was yeah, that's right, Caesar. Let's see. And Philip wanted to know. Philip's gonna have to wait till next week. I guess Philip wanted an early Kentucky Derby pick from you, Chad. But we'll have that next week. By the way, are we recording the show next Wednesday?
Wednesday works for me.
Yes.
It's up to Chad.
Okay.
Yes.
We're doing the Oaks and the Derby.
That's up to you. Yeah, sure. It's up to you guys.
Well, that's what I mean. We're not doing more than the Oaks and the Derby, right?
No.
Okay.
As long as you guys like the Oaks, yeah. I mean, that's completely up to you. I mean, if you guys
race of the day might be American turf.
If you don't like the Oaks and prefer another race like the American turf, we can do that instead. Is that what that's called? The American turf?
Let's see what happens.
Ben Gadea is making his first U.S. entrant. We're doing the Kentucky Oaks.
We're doing the Kentucky Oaks? Okay. American turf is on. Oh, that's the Saturday. Okay. Wow. There's a lot of good races besides the Derby, so that's awesome. By the way, if they
don't have good races next week, then they might as well close the store.
By the way, if we do get a couple quick announcements before we get going, if we do have a solidified time by Tuesday, and we know, we're definitely going to be doing the show at specific time on Wednesday, then we will be able to do the show live, and that will give our not patrons yet, but our viewers an opportunity to interact with us during the show. We've got the chat system all hooked up. So again, if you subscribe to the show, you'll see a promo late on Tuesday telling you when the show will be available, and all you have to do is click on the show at that time, and you'll see and hear us and be able to chat with us live next Wednesday. And then starting next month, starting after the Derby, and then all the way through, it's back to Patreon. So again, if everybody out there who was a former Patreon member, if you still have, I still have the cards on file. I've activated them, so you're going to be charged. If you don't want to be charged, please, remove your account with us at Patreon. And then if you are with us, then you'll pick up where you left off. Okay, so we've got the two races. By the way, these are at night, late night on Saturday. We've got a 9:24 race and a 9:39 race, both Eastern time, of course. I tell you what, even though it's the later race, let's start with the Churchill Down race. This 5.5 furlong turf race. And is there a particular horse in this field that catches your eye, John?
There actually is. I like an 8-1 shot in here, and it's the number 6, Lamplighter Jack. Liberato Baracchio is the new trainer. He took over.
No, that's
the other race.
Oh, I'm Golden Gate. Where are we going?
Churchill.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Let's go to Churchill.
Yeah, is there a horse in that one?
There's an angle here. I like the 3-horse Quick Money.
Okay.
First on Chris Hartman. Every horse that this trainer sent out over the last 6 months has run their eyeballs out, and she's fast. She's 1 for 3 at the distance. She's 1 for 3 on the grass. She's back on the grass. Raylu Gutierrez leading rider in a lot of tracks this year around the country. And Chris Hartman, again, on fire, and you're getting 8-1. That's my top selection in there.
Yeah, the last time out, 3 times on turf. Last time out on turf was a 12, and that's actually the best number by 6 points on turf. Ran a 9 on dirt at Churchill in May. But again, you're really just going with the trainer change angle.
Yeah, and the fact that she has a race to go back to, that wins.
12.
So, right, I think a 12 is going to win, and I think she may run better than a 12 now that Hartman's training.
What do you think? Are you still there, by the way, Chad? I can't see you.
Yeah, I'm
You're
here.
on. Okay.
I'm here.
What do you think about that quick money? What John's talking about, the 3?
Look, I mean, this was it was a February purchase by the barn. They bought the horse at the Fasig-Tipton sale, and brought it down to Oaklawn. That was kind of like the main base for Chris Hartman this fall. There's no grass at Oaklawn, so waiting. And look, I think it's important to note this is opening day of the grass course. The grass course hasn't been used since Arlington Million Day, so had a lot of trouble last year. They were optimistic that it was going to grow back in. They give it a little bit more time. This will be the first day that they're running races on it. It will be open Saturday morning, weather pending, for turf works. But this will be the first time the grass course is open since the Arlington Million Day at Churchill Downs last July. So there is a lot of unknown as to how that track's going to play and all that kind of stuff. I agree with Jonathan. This is a very, very big trainer change. Horse is seemingly working very, very well. I mean, you go back to the bullet work on March 18th, fastest of 110 at the distance. And then since then, 11 of 29, 2 of 15, 3 of 47. So horse is working very quick, as is her name, Quick Money. Just an $80,000 purchase. I thought that was interesting. I mean, off of what she'd been doing in her last few starts, won the 2 allowance races, being by Munnings out of a Tisnow mare, I would have thought she would have gone for a little bit more money. And Chris Hartman is actually running her.
He's running
$80,000 tag
that they paid for her. Yeah,
that he paid for. So it's very, very interesting to see how this is going to be. She might have some physical issues, obviously, that get in her way. And for that reason, I'm going to try and beat her. I'm going to go with the favorite in here, who's the one horse, kind of co-favorite, Nota Bene. And look, it's one of those things where it's third start off the layoff. I think she's in the best form of her career. Unfortunately, she was 18-1, and then she was 8-1, and now she's 5-2. So you're not getting the value that you were getting in her last 2 starts. But love to see Luis Saez stay aboard. Luis Saez is going to ride the meet there at Churchill Downs, where I imagine him and Tyler Gaffalione will compete for the leading riding title of the spring-summer meet. And I think it starts with him. I think Luis Saez, he won the fall meet. He rides so well. He knows this horse. The 5.5 shouldn't be a problem. Got beat ahead at Keeneland in this very kind of similar condition race last time out. So Nota Bene for me is the horse to beat.
All right. Nota Bene ran at 12 at Saratoga in July. Also ran at 12 right here at Churchill last May. That was the race. Is this a closer, this horse?
she is a closer.
Nota Bene.
Yeah, Nota Bene is the closer.
Okay.
Yes.
The last 2 races this year, a couple of 15s. Let's go through the field. What about the 2 frozen solid, John? You look at the sheets. The good thing about the sheets over 6 races is leading up into the last race, every race was better, even if you want to consider the dirt to the grass. So the horse had improved each time out at least 2 points each race. This year it was even 16 and then 14. Then the first race, this horse went backwards, was the last race at Keeneland.
Well, that turf course was soft, so maybe you want to give her an excuse for going backwards, and you just can't keep moving forward problem I have with her, she's a 4-year-old who only has 6 career lifetime starts. So, she doesn't make it to the races all that often. I mean, the horse I like is 5 years old and only has 11 starts. She's lightly raced and she's fine. She's 10-1. I would use her in my hookups if I was playing exactas.
I think a lot of times, and I don't know if you guys look at this in your handicapping, but when a trainer normally uses top percentage jockeys a lot, and then you see something where it's not the case. And in this case, with this filly, the first 3 starts for life were with Angel Arroyo. The last 3 starts have been with Kevin Krieger, both more than capable jockeys, but not the upper echelon down in Florida. And it makes me feel like maybe the barn doesn't have as much confidence in this filly as they do in some of their other horses. Normally you'd see a Rosario or people of that ilk on these horses. So for that reason, even with the rider switch to Junior Alvarado, I do tread a little lightly on this filly.
All right. I mean, the good news is that she is 10-1. Also, let's see. How about we take a look at the 6? Excuse me, the 8. Magdalena. And
yeah, that's a fast horse.
She ran an 11 at Kentucky Downs in September, but she's only been on the turf twice.
6.5 furlongs at Kentucky Downs is a totally different race than 5.5 furlongs at Churchill. They go up and down hills at Kentucky Downs. It's more of a European style turf course, and I don't know. I mean, listen, she has a shot. I'm using her too at 8-1. I put the 3 over the 2, 7, and 8. 2, 7, and 8 is what I do.
No ones on your ticket, huh?
On the sheet, she's going backwards, Jed. She's at 5-2. I mean, you're not supposed to play her if you're looking at numbers, honestly. I mean, listen, she could certainly wake up.
What about the favorite of the race? Why is this horse 2-1? Parents' Pride.
No, I would change the. I was using 3 with 2, 7, 8. I'm going to use 3 with 1, 2, 8. I'm going to give Chad some respect there that he deserves. Throw out the 7, who's 2-1. 3 with 1.
Yeah, what's up with that 2-1 shot? Why is this horse with?
Joseph, it's Ken Ramsey. The owner is a Kentucky guy, Tyler Gaffleone. They love him there. Gaffleone rode this horse in the past and won with her 2 starts back. I don't know. I mean, if you're looking at sheets, so if her turf races are no.
Yeah, the form looks good, but the sheets do not.
Correct.
What do you think about the 7, Chad? If you're still there.
Look, I mean, it's one of these things. This race is going to be interesting because from we talk about Bella, the inside horse being a closer. On paper, these horses' running styles have been all over the place. You'd imagine with Chris Hartman, Quick Money is going to show a lot more speed. Parent Trap has shown a lot of speed in the past when she's wanted to. And the Polo Lobo horse that we just talked about outside of Parent is a horse who, again, is certainly plenty fast. And I feel bad for this Argentinian mare because she started her career in Argentina, and then she's run at 4 different tracks on 4 different surfaces. I mean, she's got to be one confused filly. And, she looks as though she has some speed. So tactically, I'm going to be interested to see how Corrales handles that speed as he continues to audition himself for a Kentucky Derby mount. He's trying to get aboard Ray's Cane. How he rides this week, I think, will go a long way to making Ben Colebrook and company's decision. They want to ride a jockey with a hot hand, so Corrales needs to keep winning races, and it includes even races on the turf like this.
And the only other horse that I think is worth bringing up is Awesome Treat, the 6 at 10-1, because of the single digits on synthetic.
Yeah, but she never ran on turf, though. She's 5 years old. I mean, she tried to get on the grass at fairgrounds, and those races were rained off. The 2 bottom races you see in the form on January 3rd and January 27th of last year. But after that, they just gave up on grass and sent it to Topeka.
Yeah, before that 32 in April had all numbers between 13 and 9, but again, on synthetic. So That's it, because the other
I mean,
horses.
she's only 10-1. The 3 is 8-1. I'm going to bet the 3 all day long before I would bet the 6. Basically the same price.
Oh yeah, I mean, absolutely. Chad, do you have a horse with the 1?
I would just play her with quick money. I think she's going to be involved early on, so I would include her. And I mean, it's just the likely horses here. I think you include the 7 and 8 as well.
Okay.
This isn't a break the bank race. This is a build up keep trying to build up your bankroll for next Saturday.
Yes.
Next week, I should say. The racing starts on Tuesday at Churchill and goes all the way through Saturday. So, I mean, all week long next week at Churchill is one big party, and good races throughout the week there next week.
All right, let's talk about Golden Gate. We don't do this very often. We have done it before, though. A mile turf race, the San Francisco Mile, a grade 3 race, 250,000 3-year-olds and up. This should start close to 9:30 Eastern on Saturday. So you're going to be getting deep into, I think the draft might be over by then.
Will Brock Purdy's replacement be drafted by then?
No, there will be no San Francisco quarterbacks drafted.
I meant Mr. Irrelevant.
Oh, Mr. Irrelevant for 2023. Yes, I believe so. Yeah. I think it'll be over by 8, 9 o'clock, the latest. All right.
By the way, they make these mock drafts for 9 months in advance, years in advance.
Yeah.
They got, with the Bryce Young, is the CJ Stroud, et cetera, et cetera. I want to know who is going to be Mr. Irrelevant. Greg, you are a college football connoisseur. Do you have an early prediction on who the Mr. Irrelevant will be in this year's NFL draft, pick 265?
Well, if we're going to make it simple and stick with a quarterback,
who has the pick?
Oh, so now you're going to ask me all sorts of questions I wasn't prepared for?
Kind of like you do, but that's all right.
Let's see. I'll type that in there while we get ready.
Anyway, so while we're looking, we're going to Golden Gate as a homage to our man Caesar.
Oh, Houston has the pick.
And you know what, the thing is, Jonathan, at the end of the day, it's a pretty competitive race, to be honest with you. You got a lot of horses coming.
What do you mean? You have about 6 horses that all run between 10 and 12. It's on the sheets. It's very competitive. It really is. Whoever the favorite is, you don't want to play. You should be avoiding the short price horses.
Yep.
I really do.
Balnikov at 9-5 and Dicey Mochara at 3-1. Those are the top 2 contenders for the race. The 2, Balnikov, ran a 9 in December at Santa Anita. 18 last time out, though, with that in that grade 1 stakes race. D'Amato, trained horse. What about the 2, John?
The 2, I'm not betting this horse at 9-5. I mean, listen, I know he's coming up from Southern California, so those horses usually run well there, and it's D'Amato and everything else, and the horses finishing the money 11 out of 16 times. I'm betting against the.
Chad.
I mean, look, the one thing I'll say about this horse is it's the right spot, right? Whether or not you like the horse, it's the right spot. You tried Group 1 competition. You weren't good enough. Now you kind of go where the road's less traveled, as Yogi Berra used to say. And I think at the end of the day, I'm going to agree with Jonathan. I do like the fact that Umberto Rispoli gives up a day of mounts in Southern California to come here and ride this horse. Phil D'Amato has, especially since Richard Baltus' suspension, has accelerated to the #1 turf trainer in Southern California. Can do very little wrong there. I think Umberto Rispoli will win at least 4 races on the card. So if you want to bet Golden Gate all day long, I would just bet Umberto Rispoli to win throughout the day. But I'm not sure that this horse is trending in the right direction. I mean, John, you've been doing the sheets for so many years. And when you see a number without really much of an excuse, there's not like a lot of trouble line next to the horse or anything like that. When you see the 2 previous numbers into the last number, and it's such a drastic jump, Is there cause? I mean, and obviously you're not picking it. Would you say there's a severe cause for concern?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Because the numbers, ultimately, the thing with the sheets, the regs and sheets, the numbers don't care. It's not like buyers who put other things into the
Yeah,
formula,
they
grade
adjust for
races,
class
whatever.
and they adjust for things. We don't do that. We don't do any of
Right.
it.
A number is a number. They don't care if it's a grade 1 or a 5 claimer. A number is a number. So the bottom line was that number that horse ran last time wouldn't be good enough to win this race for sure.
All right.
Right. Exactly. And the whole key, Chad, is that she's the favorite. You know, that's why.
The other top contender, Dicey Mochara. We don't have any. Well, the last single digit was at Golden Gate on synthetic. That was a 7 last year. Since then, the best out of Dicey Mochara was an 11 at Santa Anita in October. This year, 13 and 12, John.
Yeah, I mean, why is she better than Bob and Jackie, Tesoro, Lamplighter Jack? That horse isn't better than any of those horses. I'm not putting that horse on. At least I can see a case for the 2 a little bit. I see zero case for the 9 at 3-1.
Yeah, and it doesn't even have
Drayden Van Dyke is riding.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It doesn't even have like, a top trainer or rider on board.
Well, Leonard Powell does well. Van Dyke, he's just in a tremendous slump. I think he's like 1 for 65 at Santa Anita. 1 win.
Well, he's 1 for 45 on the year. And speaking as a trainer who's in a tremendous slump, I'm rooting for Drayden Van Dyke here because sometimes you just need a slump buster to get going and break out of those slumps.
Yeah.
So, I'll be rooting for Drayden, but again, he won't be my top pick either.
All right, let's talk about Bob and Jackie. A few years ago, Bob and Jackie ran 7s in 2021. New trainer, the last 3 races. Since the trainer changed, we see 14, 15, and a 10, which was the last time out in that grade 3 race at Santa Anita. Also ran a 10 in January of 22.
Yeah, but it's a 7-year-old that ran a 10. So I would say this horse probably has bounce written all over it. This horse used to be trained by Richard Baltus, who's serving a year suspension, I believe, or year plus suspension. And George Papadromo took over a lot of the horses that he was training.
Anything on Bob and Jackie, Chad?
Well, I think you're in the what do they say? Right chapel, wrong pew. I think I'm going to make George Papadromo my top selection, but not Bob and Jackie, who I think his better days are seen behind him. I'm going to go with the horse who hasn't been seen in a year that used to be trained by Chad Brown in Flavius. And look, I've been a
Mike
big proponent
Maker
of this horse
and
for a
Richard
long
Baltus. Look who trained this horse. Chad Brown, Mike Maker, Richard Baltus. Now he's Papadromo, and he's off a year layoff, and he's only 5-1. Good luck, Chadwick.
Papadromo is the best turf trainer of that quartet, isn't he?
Yeah.
Look, I love George. He's a good guy. I think the horse has numbers and class that if he can get back to it, he can repeat. And when he came from the Chad Brown barn, Chad Brown doesn't run his horses very often, so he's used to being on these lengthy vacations. Now this one's maybe longer than most, but I just have a feeling, and we've talked about it on this show before, East Coast horses, when they go west, seem to win a lot of races.
On the turf.
I understand it's a little bit of a roller coaster, twists and turns to get there, but he is still primarily, the form is East Coast based, taking on West Coast horses. And for that, at 5-1, I don't have a strong opinion on this, but I'll take him as my tepid top selection.
I mean, just the sheets wise.
Who was your top selection, Chad?
No, he's going to be my tepid top selection.
Yeah, sheets wise, I mean, the horse is got the best numbers in this entire field, but
he's 8 years old though, and he hasn't been out in a year. He may never see those numbers again.
But you guys have just
listen. Tiger Woods made the cut in Augusta. Anything's possible.
Yeah, anything is possible as well.
All right. As far as a long
the
shot,
better question is speaking of speaking of old, the better question is, will Hendon Hooker get drafted before Will Levis tonight? That's the better question.
No chance.
All right, can we stick to the horse?
What about Tessero as a long shot, the 5 at 15-1? I don't like the fact that she's going in the opposite direction on turf, but if you just look at the turf races, and just look at her numbers in general this year, she has run a 10, an 8, and a 10 out of her 6 races, which isn't bad considering the field, considering the jockey and the trainer are having really strong meets. And you're getting 15-1.
And the big factor that you didn't mention is the horse has been gelded since his last start. I'm using this horse, especially if he's anywhere near that price.
Okay.
But the horse I'm betting is the next horse, Lamplighter Jack. Chad was just telling you how East Coast horses that ship west run well on the grass. Well, here's a perfect example. This horse was at Gulfstream, was at Kentucky Downs. He shipped to Santa Anita last time out, and he won. The guy that took over the training, Liberato Baracchio, is very, very good, and he's better than the guy that had him on the East Coast, and I'm getting 8-1, and it looks like he's stepping way up in company because he's never run against these kind of horses before. However, the numbers don't lie, and I think this horse is going to repeat the 10 or possibly make a forward move, and that should be good enough.
Yeah, the last 3 on turf, 11, 13, 11.
Well,
what about the 6, Chad?
I just want to know if he wins, if Jonathan will sing us some opera, being that Liberato is the trainer. But I agree with Jonathan. The horse, he ran a visually impressive race first time off the trainer change, and I like, just like with Phil D'Amato, I like this spot. So much of training horses is finding the right spots for your horses at the right time. And this is the right opportunity for this horse. Instead of taking off more than he can chew, running in a big race, whether shipping to Kentucky or running this weekend, there's stakes at Santa Anita that this horse could have run in. Coming here to Golden Gate, I don't think they thought the race was going to come up as salty as it did. But still, I do like this spot. It's a gradual progression. Obviously, the toughest field he's faced. But in a race full of questions of horses maybe going the other way now in their form cycle, we know that this horse is going forward, and that's something to certainly be excited about.
What's happened to Tarantino? What happened to this horse?
When was the last good race?
Yeah, you'd have to go all the way back. Ran at 10 last June.
Nothing new. Yeah, no, he's seen better days.
Yep.
He's done some good stuff with Brad Pitt, though, right?
What?
Tarantino.
You're in one of those.
Chad's in riff one tonight.
Give us a long shot you like here, if you like any, Chad. Did you give us your pick at all, Chad? Oh, you Flavius. Okay.
I think Flavius at 5-1. I think he drifts. I don't think he's going to get a lot of action. I think he'll go off at 8-1. I don't watch a lot of Golden Gate racing. I don't know if the board is often accurate or not accurate at Golden Gate, but it'll be interesting to see how the board plays. Like you said, Jonathan, there's so many different options you can go here. Does the morning line stick? Does it move around a little bit? I'm interested to see who the public plays here. I don't know who goes where, but I think there's a number of horses that have a puncher's chance, and it'll be interesting to see who wins.
I think it's always interesting to see who wins every race. I don't know about you.
Okay.
All right. So Chad's going with the 8. John's going with the 6. John, you got an exacta?
Yeah, I'm using 6 with 2, 4, 5.
All right.
6 over 2, 4, and 5.
And I'm going to use that 5 to try to make some money. And Chad, what are you doing with the 8?
I'm going to use the 8 with the Team Struggle, Drayden Van Dyke on the bottom, and Team Hall of Fame, Umbaro Rispoli, as his agent, Matt Nakatani, his father, Corey Nakatani, deservingly finally got in.
Finally.
The Racing Hall of Fame. So we'll root for Team Nakatani here as well. playing exact the box with those 3 horses.
Okay, so and that's what is that? The 9?
Yeah. Are we aiming for 7 o'clock Wednesday night?
Yeah, I think that's perfect.
All right, the 9 and the what?
2 and 8.
We were talking
Well,
about
the 8 got cut.
Team Nakatani's the 2.
2 9. Yes.
Okay. All right. So Chad's got the 8 with the 9 and the 2. John's got the 6 with the 2 4 5. In Churchill, John's got the 3 with the 1 2 8, and Chad has the 1 with the 3. So 7 o'clock we're going to aim for live next Wednesday. So we're going to put that out.
Giving away 2 hats. We're giving away 2 Mind Your Biscuits hats in honor of Derma Sadagaki live.
We're giving away 2 Mind Your Biscuits hats.
Correct.
I tell you what, I'll give away, even though it'll be after the draft, I think it's even more important to have an Our Lads draft review guide after the draft, so you can find out all about your favorite players. So if there's any football fans out there watching this show, we'll give away a couple of PDFs so you can get them immediately. Did you get your PDF, Chad?
And learn more about who Mr. Relevant is.
Did you get your PDF from me?
I got the PDF. I'm excited to see where Bijan Robinson lands.
I'm sure you are.
I didn't get one, but I don't want one. But thank you.
That's
anyway.
why I didn't send one. Didn't think you were interested.
All right.
Bijan Robinson, maybe Atlanta. How about that?
Ooh.
New Orleans. He's going to New Orleans. I heard.
Oh,
I think he goes to Tennessee, and Derrick Henry gets traded in a blockbuster trade.
Whoa.
all right, Mr. Irrelevant. How about Max Duggan?
He's got to get picked before then, doesn't he?
Maybe,
He's a
but you
winner.
never know.
Guys, I got to run. I'll talk to you all later. Thank you.
Take care, John. And
Have a good night,
Chad,
man.
will talk to
All
both
right.
of you guys
Right.
next Wednesday live for our Kentucky Derby preview. Take
Sounds
care.
Good, guys.
All right. And by the way, these guys have left the scene, and let me remove them, remove their mugs from the scene. So again, now that I'm going to be able to like relax here for a second, just want to remind everybody, if you have a Patreon account, and we talked about this when we made the move to YouTube, that I still have all of your accounts, and Patreon, basically what they did as soon as we basically paused the account is every month I had to let them know that we were pausing all of the transactions. And that's all I was doing every month. Where I was pausing the transactions if we were ever going to go back. Now that we're going back, I unpaused them. So again, everybody that had a card that you guys used, obviously, to pay for your Patreon, we're going to activate them again if they're still available. And if they're not, then I'm assuming that you guys do not want to come back for whatever reason. That's fine. Keep in mind, and this is real important, that we are going to replay portions of the show on YouTube on Saturday. So it's not going to be the entire show. I'm going to give you an example. I do a show. I do a NASCAR show and a golf show. And we have the affiliation that you should know, of course, by now with Playbook. So Playbook Experts, the YouTube channel, playbooksports.com, the website. So what we do is we do the entire NASCAR show. Let's just use that as an example on Tuesday night. On Friday, I will send just a portion of the show and post it on Mark's Playbook Experts YouTube channel. And that's so he's basically getting, I don't know, half of the show, something like that. I do the same thing with the golf show. And that's what we're going to do with the horse racing show. So if you want to watch everything that we talk about from the beginning to the end, you use Patreon. If you're not interested in that, you don't really care, you just I'll take portions of the show that are going to be free on YouTube, then we'll post that on Saturday, keeping in mind that we'll continue to record our shows on Thursday for Patreon members. Same schedule. Thursday, 2 o'clock, the earliest. 8, 9 o'clock the latest every Thursday, sometimes Friday if we have to. Now, remember, next week, it's going to be different because next week we're going to have the Kentucky Derby show, and that is going to be available to everybody. Now, I haven't decided yet what the deal is with the Kentucky Oaks show, or I should say the portion of the Kentucky Oaks that apparently we're going to do next week. Not sure if we're going to do anything else as well. So I'll talk to the guys and find out. Now, it's possible that maybe John only wants to do two races. Maybe Chad and I will do a bonus race. Maybe John will be okay with doing 3 races. There are so many races that, if we do the Oaks and the Derby and there's another really good race available, maybe we'll do that. If we do a bonus race, or if we do and again, I haven't decided yet for this week, but it's possible that that's how we do it, that we're going to make it available just for Patreon members. But I have to give it some thought. I'm just basically rattling this off because I still haven't made up our minds yet on exactly what we're going to do, especially since we're doing the show live, which kind of make things a little bit more dicey when it comes to, all right, well, who gets to see what and so forth. So it's very possible that we might wind up just doing everything for free. So, we haven't decided yet. Like I said, and because what I will tell you is if we're doing the live show, then if we want to have another race, like say we pick another race, not saying it's going to be the Kentucky Oaks, but it could be one of the races that Chad mentioned earlier. I forget which race that was. That'll be like separate. So we would do a live show, and then maybe we would stop the live show, and then just, all right, let's record this separate race. And that race that we're recording separately is going to go on Patreon only. So these are the things that will bottom line is, once it's over, once we get through the first week with the Kentucky Derby and all that, the week after that, everything goes back on Patreon full time. And remember when we were doing Patreon anyway for months, we would come up with, hey, you know what? This week we're going to have this race for free. So we have done that before, but we're not going to do that except for some big races, the biggest races of them all. Those big races will always be available on YouTube, but 90% of the races, if you want to get them on Thursdays, you want to get the entire show, you have to be a Patreon member. And please let us know if you have any. Look, I mean, we did Golden Gate this week because Caesar wanted us. He referenced Golden Gate, and we delivered on the San Francisco Handicap. So you guys have any questions regarding any specific races you want us to do? If you have any questions regarding Patreon, any questions regarding the live broadcast, and remember, when we do the live show, 7 o'clock next Wednesday, you will have the opportunity to chat live with us. So you'll have the opportunity to type in any questions or comments you like. And if Chad and John aren't looking at the screen, I am, and I will let the guys know exactly what you guys are saying and asking and so forth. So it should be a lot of fun. And that's only whenever we do live shows, though. So keep that in mind. But it's going to be a wild and crazy transition, and I'm just trying to do the very best I can to make sure that everybody understands how it's going to go. So if you do have any questions or comments, just please let me know. We'll talk to you guys next Wednesday, 7 o'clock, for our live Kentucky Derby show right here on Prime Sports Network.